boys and girls, today we're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the UFC 324 event. Now, I know I'm late. I know loads of MMA content creators have already made their videos talking about UFC 324 with their opinions, but I wasn't able to do that because I was away. I did watch it. I did watch, like, the fights, but I was away, so I wasn't able to really make a video talking about it. And I wanted to do it as it's something really I haven't really done a UFC review before. Mainly, I do it of influencer boxing fights, like the Misfits ones. But apart from that, or when Jake Paul fights, but apart from that, I haven't really done it on UFC. Which, if this video does well, I will do more of. I will do future events where I give you my opinions and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting because I'm a fan of both boxing and UFC, and obviously, I'm not gonna say I'm an expert. Like, I'm not. I don't have like crazy ball knowledge. I think I'm not like experienced at all in MMA or any of that stuff. Boxing, I know a bit more of, but obviously, when it comes to UFC, I don't really know a lot. And when it comes to the actual fighting stuff, I can judge like performances and stuff. Like, yeah, don't know why I'm waffling. But I think the main two fights I want to cover in this video are the main event, which was Paddy Pimblett, Gaethje, but also I wanted to cover Sugar Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong, because these are probably the two fights that were like the most interesting ones to me, and it's the ones I think I can talk about the most. But I do want to give credit to not Song Yadong, Umar Nurmagomedov. He had a decent performance. He had a good performance, as well as Wilder Costa against Derek Lewis. He did well, even though that fight was weird. John Silver versus Brennan Arnold was actually a decent fight. So fair play to John Silver, and yeah, that was mainly it for the other fighters. To be honest, it was the first event on Paramount, and it was. I don't think it was the most ideal way. Obviously, there were issues. They had to cancel a fight due to like betting behind it, but also, what was I going to say? But also, there was another one that happened that got cancelled because a fighter passed out on stage due to a weight cut. Which is a dangerous thing, weight cuts. If you have to cut a lot of weight, that can seriously mess you up. Like, Eubank Ben is a clear example of that. This rematch, Eubank was just absolutely got destroyed because he had to train so much. But apparently he said he was fine though, and he said he doesn't know what happens. But I don't know. I don't really know the fight that well. Um, but also the co-main event also got cancelled due to injury. I think a week or two before the fight, so it wasn't obviously the most ideal. So they had to move Sugar Sean O'Malley to sort of co-main, even though it was really a co-main event. But yeah, overall, it was probably the most ideal thing for start for Power Man. But considering all the issues, I give Dana White his credit, the Eggman. I do think he dealt with it well. But yeah, so let's get into the actual fight. But before we get into this, word 600, you know what I mean. All right, Sugar Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong. Now, this was very interesting because this was obviously Sugar Sean O'Malley coming off the two losses in a row to Merab Dvalishvili. I don't know how to say his surname. Who was the ex-bantamweight champ. And he was going against Song Yadong, which I believe isn't the greatest fighter, but I think he had the only notable win was against Henry Cejudo, I believe. But really, this was just to see how good Sugar Sean O'Malley was and to see if he really still had it. And in my opinion, I think it was a favourable matchup for him because the thing is, what the UFC does is they to a fighter they like or a fighter they could see potential in being a big star, like they try and avoid them going into tough fights even after losses because they want to try and make as much money out of the fight as possible. And that's the same thing with Sugar Sean O'Malley. That's why they didn't throw him in there against Umar Nurmagomedov because he's very similar um, to Morab, who obviously he lost to because of the grappling and the wrestling side. So he went against Song Yadong, which is more like a striker, which he fights better against strikers than actual like wrestlers. But he had an okay performance, I'd say. I think he didn't obviously he did okay for his standards. I guess he didn't really do much. Obviously, he went points. He didn't really knock out him out. I saw people saying that like how Song Yadong should have won. I didn't really think so. I think I'd give it 2-1 to maybe Sean O'Malley. I'll probably give like the first round to Song Yadong, the next two to uh, Sean O'Malley. To be honest as well, it's interesting as well because Sean O'Malley's more really used to doing 5 round fights. So him changing, he would have to be changing his game plan to make it more uh, better for the for the 3 round type fights. But yeah, so Sean O'Malley won by points. He was saying as well, I've been saying on Twitter as well, like how he didn't like how he was like very locked in during the fight. And fair enough, because this fight was probably one of the most important fights of his career, because it could easily say like show what if he should fight ever really again, or if he's ever going to be really in title contention again. Because if he lost or put up a poor performance, he might have to think about we might never see him get a title shot again. You know that's what the level was for this fight. But I saw him say like he thinks his plan is to beat Song Yadong and then fight Peter Yan for the championship. Now, in my opinion, I don't think he deserves it yet. Now, I see and the reason I say that is because obviously he just recently lost his belt to Merab. Merab lost it to Peter Yan. But the thing is, Merab and Peter Yan has got one a piece of each other. Merab beat him first, but Peter Yan obviously beat him last time. So they probably need to run back that trilogy at some point as well. As well as that, I think Umar Nurmagomedov is also another fighter in deserving of a title shot as well. So he's also another one. Also, apparently, Corey Sanhagen as well could possibly fight Sean O'Malley. I think them two are possibly lined up to fight. And then obviously you got Peter Yan as the title. So the thing is, I think, in my opinion, he needs to either fight next. I think he needs to have one more fight before going into a championship fight against Peter Yan. The only reason they would possibly make the fight is because Peter Yan did beat. Sugar Sean O'Malley did beat Peter Yan before he was champ, so they could. So that could be the possible reason, and also because he's like a way bigger star level wise than all the other fighters are named. I think Merab's really the only one that because the thing is, out of all the ones I named, apart from Merab, Sugar Sean's really the only like main event like fighter that can actually get like a main event. Like, no offense to Umar Nurmagomedov or Corey Sanhagen, but I don't think any of them can main event a UFC cards. What I mean. So yeah, I think maybe have him fight Sugar Sean O'Malley fight either Umar Nurmagomedov or Corey Sanhagen, and whoever, let's say he fights, I think he's more likely going to fight Corey Sanhagen than Umar. So I think maybe put them two against each other, and then no, actually I'll change my mind. Put Sean O'Malley against Umar, and then you put Moab. Do the trilogy for Moab and no. Oh, I'm chatting a lot. I don't know what I'm on about. Wait, yeah, I think you should do Sean O'Malley against Corey Sanhagen, put Umar against someone else in the top like 10, make the winner of them two fight each other, and also do the Moab and Peter Yan rematch, and then you do the winner of Sugar Sean O'Malley, Corey Sanhagen, and the Umar fight, and then the winner of those two and Umar fight the winner of Marab and Peter. It does sound confusing, but hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm feel like I'm waffling too much. Obviously, you got the UFC White House cards. Sugar Sean O'Malley could possibly be on that. I wouldn't really mind seeing him on that. I think that'd be cool. But obviously, it's really up to him. He is one of America's biggest stars in the UFC. So yeah. Anyways, I feel like I've waffled too much about the co-main event. So let's talk about the main event. Paddy Pimblett Gaethje. Now, this is an interesting one. I originally predicted. I know Paddy was the favorite, but to be honest, I'm going to say this now. I said something which you might not believe me, and you might be like, "Well, you're only saying this because he lost." I was talking to my brother, who is a big fan, by the way, of Paddy Pimblett, and I don't blame him. Who isn't? Paddy Pimblett's like a funny guy. And I pointed out to him, Gaethje's an OG. Like he's fought in the UFC for ages. He's fought against like fighters like Khabib, like Poirier. I think he fought Oliveira, Holloway. Like he fought loads of OGs. Like I think he has been a toe to toe with loads of fighters as well. So like he he's an OG, and I think he has more experience really against tougher opponents than Paddy. Like for Gaethje, Paddy's not going to be his like toughest fight he had. Like he's not going to be on the level as a Khabib. So like really, what is there for Gaethje to worry about with Paddy? Meanwhile, with Paddy, I think it's probably his toughest fight yet. Well, it was because he lost, but it was going to be fighting wise his toughest fight yet, because before that he beat Bobby Green and Tony Ferguson. Respect to Tony, obviously, I talked about him in the Misfits video. He cooks in boxing, but UFC was on like a losing streak. Obviously, do I think he deserved the chance at an interim title after the way he fought against Michael Chandler? No. I think they should have fought, but they made a fight anyway because obviously any chance to have Ilya Topuria fight Paddy, they could do. But by the way, I don't think that fight ever happened. But anyway, as I was saying, I didn't think Gaethje and Paddy were anywhere near the similar level, and I think, to be honest, that night did kind of show that. I do think Paddy got outclassed by Gaethje, but at the same time, I did not really like the way Gaethje fought. Like he did an eye poke I believe, in the first round. I don't know what's with everyone eye poking British fighters, okay? Because you did the same thing to Tom Aspinall twice when he fought Cyril Garn. So why is everyone eye poking British fighters? Nah, but in all seriousness, though, Gaethje was eye poked him, and then the ref was like, if you eye poke him again, you would get a point deducted. Ended up, I think the round after eye poking Paddy again. I don't think it was as bad as the first eye poke, but I think still the ref should have stuck to his word. If you say something, actually mean it. I think he should have got a point deducted for the second eye poke, because I think it was kind of intentional, even though he's probably not going to say it was. But either way, I think Paddy did get dominated that fight, and it is probably a wake up call to him, because it's probably event. It was. I was gonna. What's the word? It's inevitable he was gonna lose at some point. Like he's not gonna be undefeated his whole time in the UFC, especially if he wanted to fight Topuria. But the thing is, I did find it questionable that Paddy, obviously known for his jiu-jitsu and his wrestling and grappling, that he wanted to go toe-to-toe, like boxing-wise, with Gaethje, even though he isn't really the greatest when it comes to the boxing side, Paddy. Meanwhile, Gaethje's more of a boxer. So I was questioning that. Obviously, in the first round, Gaethje landed a great uppercut, which did knock him down. But I do not really understand if he thought he was going to like knock him out with like punches. But apparently that's what he thought he was going to do, because that's what he actually ended up doing. Bit questionable there. But I think after watching that fight, I think really none of them really on the set. Like this, I don't want to be biased because Topuria is my favorite fighter in the UFC, but I don't think any of them have a chance against a fighter like Topuria. Topuria hits like a truck. He knocks people out and sends them to sleep. If you've seen what he done to Charles Oliveira, you understand what I mean. But I think that night just showed me like it was a great fight. Don't get me wrong, it was bad toe to toe. They went full out. It was a war, and everyone's saying it's already fight of the year, which I think it's a bit too early in January to say that. But I think I don't. But I think it does show that I don't think either of them would do well really against Paddy. I think Ilya would be. I bet Ilya was at home watching, laughing, being like, oh, "I got the easy fights. I got the easy fight now." But obviously, I think the one that makes the most sense now is obviously the Justin Gaethje Ilya Topuria fight for the lightweight unification. Rumored, everyone's saying it could be on the White House card, possibly, and it would make sense because Gaethje is loved by. It's an American champ, I think. It's like the only American champ in the UFC, so I think it would make the most sense for him to be on the White House card. But if I'm just saying this now, if they do Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, and Ilya Topuria against Gaethje, that will be Topuria and McGregor on the same card will be absolute chaos because they will be non-stop chatting about each other. Like, trust me, UFC, if you want to get an entertaining viral moment, do that. Put Michael Chandler against McGregor or Masvidal on the same event as Ilya Topuria Gaethje. But obviously, because I don't think they will do that. But I'm just saying, if they did that, that would be legendary. But yeah, I think, in my opinion, obviously you got Arman Sarukian as well, who hate watching Paddy. But I think Dana White has like some weird like hatreds towards Arman because he goes like, "Oh, I think he's like a great fighter and like he deserves it," but then he legit pits Paddy over him to fight Gaethje. But to be honest as well, I think it was pretty obvious that the UFC wanted Paddy to win against Gaethje because they knew it would be a more of a bigger money fight against Topuria than Gaethje would. I think they tried to pick the easiest matchup for Gaethje because I think he would have struggled against Arman. He would have struggled against trying to think who the other fighter is. Like Arman, Suzuki, and Gaethje and Paddy were like all the three fighters potentially rumored to fight him. But apparently Dana White has this thing where it's like he missed. Like the thing is he doesn't like Arman because Arman pulled out of his fight against Islam Makhachev in one of like Islam's last fight at heavyweight. So he obviously doesn't really like him for that. But to be honest, that fight was what, like 2 years ago. Like you don't need to hold the grudge for that long. Like he still doesn't trust John. Like, I understand about the John Jones, Tom Aspinall thing, not like trusting John Jones. But I think Arman Sarukian really only proved once, really, that he can't really be trusted. I do say that, but in the weigh-in for his fight against Dan Hooker, he did great headbutt Dan Hooker for some reason. I don't know why, but I did break his nose apparently. So I don't understand if they didn't really want to promote that type of fighter. But to be fair, speaking of Dan Hooker, him and Paddy's been going back and forth. So if you want a good fight for Paddy for a comeback fight after that loss, do Dan Hooker, both coming off losses. I think that'll be a very interesting fight. I don't know who Arman Sarukian can fight though, because really, if Gaethje's gonna fight, the Topuria for the belt, I don't know if Arman, maybe Arman would fight Paddy for easy money, and because there's a little bit of tension there. But I don't really know. Obviously, you've got the White House card, and he said, according to Dana White, Mr. White, according to Dana White, he said that he said that they're not really going to be starting to plan the White House card until Monday. So obviously, I don't know what Dana's thinking. Sometimes he cooks, sometimes he doesn't. You never know. He's just a he's. an unreliable chef is what I'd call him. But honestly, that's just been my review of the UFC 324. Sorry. If you want me to do more reviews on UFC and boxing events, just leave a like and subscribe. I obviously I got the UFC. We got UFC 325 with Diego Lopez Volkanovski coming up soon, which will be very interesting. Max Holloway against thingy, I forgot his name, Charles Oliveira, which would be also a very interesting one. Obviously, boxing wise, we got Shakur versus Ryan Garcia, very interesting fight, and obviously many more boxing fights as well coming this year. So I'm gonna try and give you my review on that. But hopefully that's been a good review on my UFC 324. But yeah, if you agree, disagree, just leave it in the comments. I'll reply most likely. But yeah, that's been my review. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, and peace.